2 of the league. So the first match somehow didn't record. I'm not sure exactly what happened. That did actually mess up another attempt to record previously when I was still kind of learning how this whole recording thing goes. I'm gonna try to pay more attention to whether or not there's whether or not the record function here is showing up. But the good news is the first game, it was some type of odd mono blue devotion deck that didn't actually do that much. I think that game was kind of boring. Not exactly sure what that was. I'm not sure if that's really much of an established archetype or the opponent was experimenting with something new, which is always cool to try something new. But the opponent kind of gave up on game 2 and left. I don't know. Maybe the opponent has something else going on. I don't know. But regardless, I think if I could choose any particular game to miss out on, I guess that one probably. I guess it's good that it happened to be that one because that was kind of a boring match. So now I actually have kind of a challenge. The previous hands were actually pretty good last game, so there wasn't really much interesting Mulligan discussion. So. Here, I think I actually am going to keep it, and this is really on the back of Smuggler's Copter, which could be wrong, but, Merfolk is a fairly mana-hungry deck. Yeah, make no mistake, we will be in deep trouble if they can either remove the Smuggler's Copter or if I continue to draw lands. But a Castle Vantress can at least maybe give me some more value with all these lands, but, yeah, I'm, you could say maybe this is somewhat of a weakness of the archetype itself, but there are certain vulnerabilities that you just have to be prepared for. Doesn't look like I am going to most likely be punished for this keep, given that it's Bogles. I could get punished in a myriad of other ways by this matchup, but I'm going to predict that any punishment I receive this game is going to have been dished out regardless of this decision to keep or not. In other words, I think the Smuggler's Copter is probably going to make this hand relatively smooth. I could be wrong. I did draw another dud. Eventually the duds might overload Copter's ability to actually improve my hand. We shall see. I actually like the Bogles matchup though, particularly in games 2 and 3. Game 1 we can actually win. We are not mainboarding Force Negation though, which that helps a lot. If we are, however, actually mainboarding Chalice, which in theory actually means this should be a great matchup. But unfortunately, I don't have Chalice. I might draw it though, which is another nice thing about Smuggler's Copter, is that if Chalice is good, I can dig for it. Yeah, actually, one of the reasons why I think I've played Merfolk for as long as I did is that I actually find that between the type of red decks I like to play and Merfolk, it just so happens that a lot of the matchups that are a big problem for all, the various different types of red decks I've played, Burn, Prowess, of the either traditional or this new version I'm trying, if you think about it, a lot of the matchups that are really good against those red type archetypes, they're actually either not so bad or even good for Merfolk. I mean, take Neobrand for example. I really think Neobrand's actually a pretty good matchup for this deck, mostly because of Force and Negation. In general, I just find that they really don't have much they can do about that. Whereas Neobrand is a nightmare for the red matchup. So if Neobrand ever completely starts taking over, I've got another deck right here that actually is very well positioned. Same thing for Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam is actually not necessarily a very great matchup for Merfolk, but it is actually at least, well, I mean, it's actually, roughly evens. I think Adnos players think they're favored. I feel like I'm favored. Well, maybe not in this particular version because I don't have Force Negation main or any counter magic for that matter, other than Chalice, which actually is pretty good because it does set off Angel's Grace, because its split second doesn't get around Chalice, and Lotus Bloom on 0. But definitely the sideboard is what improves that matchup. But regardless, what I'm just trying to say is it's not like a terrible matchup like it is for the red decks. Okay, so back to this game. I am actually inclined, especially since I don't have any counter magic I can draw into. No, you know what? I was thinking to play Harbinger first in order to hold up something at flash speed to block the Bogles, but there's enough upside actually to digging for Chalice, which I almost forgot about. That definitely I'm going to crew. Plus I can play the other Smuggler's Copter if need be. I mean, the rest of this hand is pretty, unfortunately, kind of miserable. That could also discourage another attack. Wow, yeah, more duds. I think the other Aether Vial is basically strictly dead, so I'm going to discard that. And you know, I am going to play the other Copter and leave a land open, a land up, and this might deter an attack. This could be a mistake. You know, usually I like to cycle extra Copter copies with the first Copter, but at a certain point, I think I will probably have to draw Chalice, or I'm probably gonna get locked out of the game. In a sense, does he have first? Does this Boggle have first strike? I don't think so. It's probably gonna attack though, because yeah, there's really isn't anything at flash speed. Spectral Sailor, like a Spirit in Merfolk. Yeah. I think I can yield to this. So okay, this is not good, but I do have Brazen Borrower to maybe take my opponent off the Spirit Link, or the All Is Glitter, or the All It Glitters. This actually will help out a lot. I am going to lead off on it. I'm actually going to hit the Horizon Land. If they do start drawing lands, that's better. Yeah, I know it seems like they're taking free damage off of it, but Merfolk does actually have game against Bogles. Oh, and I think that makes that decision easy. Just take them off of all their mana. So this is even better than Chalice. It's supposed to be frustrating for the opponent, although by no means are we out of the woods. I'm just gonna play this and dig. They are of course gaining 6 life, but yeah, but I think there's a lot of value to just cycling through my deck a lot. Yeah, and realistically, I don't think I should try to set up for a chump block. Well, it could come to that if they don't draw another land and I don't draw something worthwhile. Easy Aether Vial. Probably the Dismember next. Yeah, easy Dismember. Yeah, Copter really doing work. That will put us at parity as far as damage output. As well as, yeah, my opponent gained 6, I dealt 6, so at least the opponent stayed at the same life total. Yeah. This Bogle's starting to get out of control, but the good news is I think I can still chump block it, because it doesn't have first strike, doesn't have evasion. So I think I might go for the chump block. Actually, and obviously I think I have to. I mean, maybe not chump block is not the right word, but I can go for the double block. Was unfortunate that the opponent drew a dual land where they can cast both the colors of their spells, but that is how it goes. I'm going to lead off with Harbinger, odd sorcery speed. I do have the option to play this as an instant, but I do want to attack with Copter first. And I actually do think I want to Vial Chalice. Chalice, I think I definitely would still want to play Chalice if I draw it, so I am going to play Lord of Atlantis, even though this means that Silvergill Adept is not an option. Yeah, I am just going to go digging. I'm going to leave 2 of these creatures up. 2 chump block, no totem armor, no first strike, no evasion. I actually probably have to draw another creature here because of the trample though, but I think that's pretty likely. But it was the 1 creature. That won't do it though. Well, let's see. We soak up 5 damage. Actually, we're not dead. Yeah, honestly, I wasn't thinking enough about trample. You know, maybe the curse of not taking the time to focus while commenting. Sometimes you can get distracted by your own commentary, but I do think they're going to be okay because I do soak up 5 damage. That will result in 4. I will just barely live, assuming the opponent has nothing, which is frankly kind of unlikely, but I think there's a decent chance that the opponent has a like a Griff's Boon or some type of like, well, I don't know actually. It's also possible the opponent just has something that gives +1/+1 or something like that. Or Bogles, that's not going to do it by itself. I mean, most 1-drop, I mean, basically any 1-drop enchantment will do it. It'll be just enough damage. But if not, though, this is just enough toughness to soak up the attack. And the opponent will lose everything, but they will get the Rancors back, though, so there is that. And kind of convenient for the opponent that they can still use the island to cast Slippery Bogle. Not used to hearing it pronounced, actually. Okay, that's good. Maybe some of the distraction from the commentary is made up by maybe I get better luck when I record. I do think I got pretty good luck the last league. Well, pretty obvious I have to block here. So we'll see. Path to Exile would be GG though. Alrighty. So it should take 4 unless somehow my math is really bad. Alright, nice. The opponent will gain the life and get the Rancors back. But Rancors won't make the Boggle impossible to block. It'll just force me to have to hold back more. Alright. Chalice would still be pretty nice. You know, or another Spreading Sea. Spreading Seas. Enough of these copters. Well, let's just get the Silvergill in play. But we can see, though, it's kind of nice that Copter can cycle Copter. Yeah, I'm just going to play this. So I kind of want to cycle, but at the same time, yeah, I think it should be pretty safe to cycle here. If they had Path, they would have used it last turn. I might draw another creature as well. I really want to be both applying pressure and drawing into stuff that will help me close out the game. Let's see here. 6, and obviously nowhere close to lethal. So, attack with these 2. I don't need to leave 2 back. I mean, I could attack with the Lord of Atlantis. It is getting pumped by the other one. No, actually, I have to leave 2 back just in case, because they could play some type of pump spell, obviously. Ooh, probably just not going to... I heard there's some merit to still looting, but yeah, I'm still going to loot, actually, because you just never know. What if it's Chalice or another Spreading Seas? That would even be better. Hopefully it's not also something good. Yep, well, you see that. Yeah, I heard when in doubt, it's actually pretty good to loot, even if you don't think you're going to discard it. There was a lot of upside, just looking a little deeper. Well, makes me kind of wish I attacked with Lord of Atlantis, but you just never know. Maybe this actually is the difference. Yeah, what if they play I forget what that card's called. The one that pumps for each enchantment and gives first strike. Well, yeah. That I think that went about as well as we could have hoped for game one, without, of course, seeing our main deck Chalice. Dismember is almost useless. The only thing, though, is I think they get a little cocky sometimes, and they think that their core spirit dancers can take them all the way, because they expect us to board out any creature removal we might have. Certainly not to board any in. But that being said, let's first board in the obvious one, which is Force and Negation. That's huge. And what to take out? Yeah, and realistically, even though Dismember does have merit, because Core Spirit Dancer is still a problem potentially, we still have Brazen Borrower that might be able to help with that. Possibly Harbinger. So yeah, we've got ways around it. And as we saw, Smuggler's Copter was just so critical that game that there was so much chaff. Smuggler's Copter completely almost won the game by itself, really. You know, of course they didn't play removal, so it just went completely unimpeded. And two of them actually went unimpeded. But well, I mean, you know, if a card virtually wins the game, if it can attack a few times unimpeded, you know, I would say that's a pretty good card. And Smuggler's Copter is quite deceptively good in that regard. Usually just a few attacks, and the quality of the cards improves so much that dramatically increases your chances of winning. Not a perfect card by any stretch of the imagination, but well, I don't think any other card would have been able to do what Copter did that game. Yeah, I mean, there's some merit to maybe playing Deprive, but I think Spreading Seas is better, like we saw in that game. That's a way to lock them out. I don't want to board out too many creatures. I need them for Smuggler's Copter. I also need them to reveal the Silvergill Adept. I think we're going to be good. Deprive is also just very clunky. If I don't have Aether Vial, it's very hard because I have to leave it up almost every time. Force and Negation has been very, very helpful in this matchup. Well, this is a huge upside hand. That's also a huge risk. I do think I'm going to keep it, though, because there is so much upside, and the good news is I can still interact, even if I don't draw the second land on curve, although I probably just this probably just maybe buys me one turn before I just die, but the upside is enough that I think I have to keep. I mean, I have to imagine the Bogles deck also has to keep. You know, I think the Bogles deck actually has to keep hands kind of like this much more frequently, just due to the fact that it only really has 8 creatures that are pretty secure. So I mean, hey, if they can still function like that, you know, let's hope we can get away with it too. So the Brazen Borrower plus Chalice is nice. Bounce a 1-drop enchantment. Hopefully it won't come back. Well, we still got another turn, and I can still interact with Force and Negation. But our chances of winning do go dramatically down if I do not draw land next turn. Again, it is good, though, that this is an island, so even Castle Ventress will turn on any of my 2-drops. Ethereal Armor, that's what it was called. It's a good card, but I think I've got to let it go. It's, of course, really Daybreak Coronet. That is basically completely game over. Spider Umbra, again, I think I have to let that go. Yeah. You know, because the thing is if I can get Chalice down and I can bounce the Ethereal Armor, the Spider's Umbra is just really not... It's just really not that menacing. But of course, with a Daybreak Coronet, Brazen Borrower doesn't have that same interaction with the Chalice. Yes! Yes, yes, yes. Nice. Well, maybe that's the recording luck there. But Chalice on 1, I think, is the pretty obvious play. Got the answer for the Coronet. Hopefully they don't dump like 2 Ethereal Armors. What am I saying? I got Chalice. So, evening streaming and maybe got a lot of things on my mind. But Ethereal Armor, I've got an answer too, which is good. And then hopefully I can bounce the, hopefully I can force to negate any 2-drop enchantment. And I can hopefully bounce the Ethereal Armor. And then then the opponent just has a 2/2 Boggle. Griff's Boon is pretty good because they can actually bring it back from the graveyard. Good for them, of course, not good for me. And I can't actually counter it, so... But the good news is just having a slightly buff flying Boggle and a Spider Umbred Boggle is, I think, manageable. So hopefully we're still okay. Kind of wish I had Dismember now, but you know, they're really only drawing to either artifact removal or some of their remaining two mana enchantments at this point. So, Force Spirit Dancer is probably not even really that threatening. Yeah, so I definitely want to bounce the armor. I don't really see myself getting punished by waiting until their turn. In theory, they could play something like Lapse of Memory, the 3-mana Memory Lapse type card in white. I've never ever seen them play that. I sometimes see them play Mana Tithe, interestingly, but I never ever see them play that 3-mana counterspell. I almost forget that card exists. I mean, not really. It's actually kind of funny because when that card was spoiled, I remember being like, "Why is this in white?" And I was just, I was so fascinated by it. So I am aware of the card, but I don't actually think I've ever seen that ever played against me in Modern. It's just kind of bizarre that I'm aware of its existence. I've thought about playing it sometimes, in like the old Luris Prowess version with white, kind of similar to the one I'm playing, but with Luris instead. And there is some white versions that people are still playing now. You know, I remember thinking about playing Lapse of Memory in that deck, but it just, at 3 mana, it's just so overcosted. And, you know, I don't know if there's any way I get punished now, because only 1 mana up. I've got Chalice. I think bouncing the armor is the pretty obvious play. It thankfully will not come back because of Chalice. Then I think I have to play the Copter, just because I have to start digging. I do need more lands. I won't be able to block, but yeah, plus a nice thing, Copter can also block a Boggle with Boon attached to it. Yeah, I'm not in a rush to Spreading Seas, because we're actually kind of hoping that they flood out. Because all of their Auroras cycle now. Well, alright. Again, I think it's kind of an obvious play to Smuggler's Copter. I mean, there is some merit to maybe preventing their cycling, but again, I think really what we're just hoping is that they kind of flood out, so... The Griff's Boon, though, will make their Boggle unblockable. For now, at least. Smuggler's Copter and the Brazen Borrower will be able to block it. Later. Yeah, there's a good chance they still just want to cycle. Probably all that glitters would be pretty good for them. If they do have it, though, I do have Force Negation. The Spirit Mantle. You know, if I was them, I almost think I might be try to be more risky and put that on Core Spirit Dancer. So to counter it or not to counter it, I mean, you know, this racing situation is not too thrilling. Because let's see, if they play this, then they attack. I'm down to 7. then I basically have 2 more turns because then they can play Griffspoon from the graveyard. I'm on a 3-turn clock. Can I race them in 3 turns? Realistically, probably not. I think I've got to counter this because, yeah, it just seems pretty unlikely. And I mean, Spreading Seas could come in handy if somehow the creature gets buffed, but I just can't. I just can't justify ditching either of these creatures. And the Mana Screw effect, I don't think is going to be particularly important here. And also, in case anybody's wondering, no, Spreading Seas does not make Dryad Arbor into a. It doesn't turn it off from being a creature. It's still going to be a 1/1 creature. It'll just be a 1/1 island rather than a 1/1 forest. Otherwise, Spreading Seas definitely would have been more tempting. Oh, well, now they've got a lot of cycling power, but there's nothing I can do about that, so obviously I'm just going to let that go. Yeah. The good news is I don't think they actually cannot. Yeah, they won't draw a card from Griffspoon coming back. So the play here is to play Silvergill Adept. Yeah. And I've got a backup Force Negation. If I hit an island, I'm not sure if I want to play the Master of... Okay, well, good news is I won't have to make that... Well, I might still have to make that decision. We'll see. I will, I think, be attacking... Yeah, because I do want to cycle the Chalice away. Maybe, ideally draw land. But the next turn, I'm probably Copter is going to be on blocking duty. Yeah, just a Chalice. This also can't be pitched to Force Negation. This is a little unfortunate because I'm a little bit short on land. And it's a little frustrating losing to just a vanilla 2/2 and a 1/1. But that's how it goes sometimes. Yeah, definitely the power of Core Spirit Dancer almost makes me want to put some Dismembers in. It still can't be right, though. Might not even draw it. Just seems wrong to have 4 cards that only answer 4 of their cards, and that, you know, admittedly don't even automatically win the game for them. And which we do technically have other answers for, too. But it's really the core Firewalkers that are creating problems here. Just because they are going closer to their 2-drop spells. But they are cycling through a lot of 1-mana spells. Can you imagine if we didn't have Chalice here? Yeah. Yeah, wow, lots of cycling. See, now they're getting card advantage, so it's not just cycling. Each one of these cards is like a divination. That's another thing about Merfolk, is the games go longer. Well, I guess they're still afraid of the Dismemberer. You would think I would have played it by now. Otherwise, putting on a Core Spirit Dancer would just be more power. Well, Spreading Seas is pretty nice value hitting the Horizon land here, so I think I'm actually going to pitch. I'm going to pitch the Silvergill Adept, as much as that pains me to do, because I do like the card advantage. But, ugh. Still attacking for 2. Still got Griff Spoon, but I've still got Brazen Borrower. So there is that. You know, maybe this wasn't necessary, actually. Although keeping them off a card does seem nice. Yeah, just never drawing the forced land. It's going to be a problem. I guess I'll force them to have to bring back the Griff Spoon here. I'm definitely at the point where it's a little getting kind of risky to attack. Maybe I'm losing faith. Well, yeah, I guess Force of Vigor is a sideboard card that can definitely make sense for them. This puts me in a pretty bad spot. Yeah, it's Core Spirit Dancers, really. Really got out of hand. They're finally putting it on their Core Spirit Dancer. Well, it finally caught me off. I don't have a Dismember. I mean, I'll play it out. Might see a little more. Might see some other spicy tech. I mean, I do know of their Force Negation, Force of Vigor now. Of course, they did kind of have to show this in order to cement their win. Also, so they are behind on time though too. So there's that. Well, I mean that's obviously game. Good game, I mean. All right. So obviously a little bit feeling a little hopeless about this situation, but I think pretty justifiably so. There's really no coming back here. So I think I can afford to be a little tilted. Just kind of making them go through the motions. I wonder if there's some type of EV to just kind of let yourself kind of just soak in the hopelessness of a situation like this instead of constantly be looking for lines to come back. You know, maybe I'll save that mental energy for the next game. Yeah, and this is there was definitely no line to take there. So, you know, maybe it is actually okay to take out Copter. Copter really came in handy in game 1, but actually, in the past actually sometimes I did side in Dismember. I mean, or I did keep Dismember in, or even sided in against Bogles. As strange as it is, they only really have 12 main creatures that they play. So, yeah, actually having an answer to Core Spirit Dancer is not negligible. And just realistically, you know, Chalice is never going to be dead in this matchup. You know, even there, when they played Force of Vigor, I had another one in my hand, and I didn't cycle it away with Copter, and it would have been live after they destroyed it. So, you know, I really wish I could play Copter, but unfortunately I just can't, because I can't go below 16 Merfolk. I'm sure many people think that's too many, that's too few as is. I actually find it's just enough, because it's like 20 ways to cast Silvergill Adept, or I should say, for each Silvergill Adept, if you have a Silvergill Adept in your hand, there are 19 other cards that will enable it. And the reason why it's 19 is because you have the 3 other Silvergill Adepts, that's 3. You got the 12 other Merfolk, That's 15, the 12 being Lord of Atlantis, Merfolk of the Master of the Pearl Trident, and Harbinger of the Tides. So you might be wondering what are the other 4, that if it's only 15, 3 Silver Gills and the other 12 Merfolk. Well, it's the Aether Vials, since those enable it without even having to reveal a Merfolk. And I just find that having that many enablers is just enough. I mean, but that's probably, any less is probably too few. But 16 is just about it, so can't really unfortunately play Copter. Taking a Merfolk just wouldn't make sense, or Spreading Seas, or any of the else. So I am going to keep, unlike last hand, Castle Ventress is not live for turn 2 Chalice, but I do have Force of Negation, I do have Aether Vial. I'm going to hope this is good enough. I mean, I can definitely do a lot worse. And actually, Merfolk is also, I hate to say this because I really love Merfolk, but it actually doesn't quite mulligan as well as you might think. Because, Aether Vial is really another mana source. So the deck actually plays quite a few mana sources. So there's really quite a high likelihood of flooding, actually. It's one reason why I like Smuggler's Copter. The deck plays, in a way, 24 mana sources. Of course, 4 of those are Mutavaults. But that's also why I like 4 Castle Vantresses. I like it when the mana sources can also do something else. Otherwise, 24 mana sources in a deck like this definitely is susceptible to flooding. So if I have to, well, I think it's way too early to have to force a negation, but if I do have to force a negation, definitely Silvergill Adept's going to be the pitch, because Spreading Seas is just very good. Spreading Seas sometimes is even better than Chalice, like we saw in Game 1. That's really how Game 1, I think, won in our favor, which was huge. Well, I can't not play Chalice here, right? I mean, they might have Force of Vigor, but if they don't, then they're completely locked out of the game here. I mean, of course, they could play All Is Glitter, and All That Glitters, or Spirit Mantle. I do have the Force of Negation for that, thankfully. Yeah, probably reasonable for my opponent to assume if I even had 1-drop creatures, I would have boarded them out with Chalice on 1 here. So, risky attack, but completely reasonable. I probably would have made it myself too. Every once in a while, you win games you think you have no business. I do have Mutavault though, but if this Mutavault was an island, stranger things have happened than attacking for 21 at a time with a Slippery Boggle. Opponent is definitely not incorrect for keeping the hope alive, but Spreading Seas might demoralize a bit. But that's how it goes sometimes. We'll see. Well, can't play the Aether Vial, of course, because of Chalice. But even if I didn't have Chalice, I probably gain more. EV by just having an extra card in hand to bluff with, most likely. Yeah, so attacking here probably doesn't make sense. Likelihood is too high. I got something, which of course I do. Yeah. I'll just gotta close the game now. I've seen crazier things, and an opponent coming back from this. But obviously this is pretty good. Now I could go super aggro, but I kind of like the idea of holding up Force of Negation, just on the crazy off chance that the opponent does have Force of Vigor. You'd think they'd play it on the upkeep, but also I can hardcast it. Yeah. Plus I can hardcast the Brazen Borrower. Yeah, there's a lot of upside to not attacking Mutavault. I feel good about this. More than happy if the opponent wants to accept the trade. Yeah, see, one reason I've been playing the mono red deck more is we're closing in on 40 minutes here with one game, and it's Slippery Bogles. I mean, it's the Bogles matchup. This would have been, I win or lose, this would have been over within probably like 15-20 minutes with the Obosh deck. You can definitely jam more games with it. Definitely just closing the game out here. And I'll play out the land. Aether Vial is completely dead anyway. Now we're definitely in territory where the opponent may not have forced a Vigor on their turn because I could force a negation on their turn. So they may want to be saving it till now, but of course I can hard cast the force negation. So unless I draw another land, I'm probably not going to be attacking with the Mutavault. I just don't want to give my opponent, I guess, the unlikely out of force of vigor into ethereal armor. Or I mean, the opponent's really far behind here. Just, you know, never get too cocky. Yep. Well, I think that's gonna do it for tonight. I am 2-0 again. Unfortunately, the first game against some type of mono blue devotion type deck, where the opponent played counterbalance and like Witching Well, Leyline of Anticipation in game 1, not much else. Master of Waves. Strange to see that on the other side without it really being a Merfolk deck. Well, they also had Thassa's Oracle, so maybe it was actually some bizarre big mana Merfolk deck of some type. Anyway, fascinating deck. Unfortunately, didn't record for some reason, but yeah, game 1 the opponent didn't really do anything other than cast a Master of Waves that got dismembered, and you know, did attack once and brought me down to 2. I mean, you know, 6, and then I dismembered, so I went down to 2. And then game 2, opponent played a land, and then on their second turn, I'm guessing they missed their land drop and they scooped, or maybe they had just something else going on. They had to go. I don't know. But the other than just it being a fascinating deck, which I've never seen before. Yeah, the first game at least wasn't particularly interesting plays. The opponent just really didn't do all that much. Probably counting on the counterbalance to do a lot more, but I had Aether Vial. So, yeah, I couldn't really counter most of my stuff. Anyway, so that's probably the first league that's going to be posted. The first match that'll get posted in this league for the Merfolk deck. I am 2-0. You know, maybe the next trophy, hopefully I get, will be Merfolk. That would be nice. All right. We'll see how it goes next, and yeah, looking forward to it.